Nigerians are expected to seek out the best.
Two words to describe the activity. The Yoruba Unity Forum is conducted.
Be the first to know. From the north, south, east, west, and around Africa, we break the news. Now you can catch all the actions live as the news breaks. We are Core TV News.
Welcome to Core TV Primetime
News, a 24-hour news station.
Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on Cool Digest this Wednesday. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Let's kickstart with finding out what some are now saying is the main reasons why the 2015 earlier scheduled February 14 presidential election was shifted. And we'll start with the position of the People's Democratic Party on this developing story. Of course, the PDP insists that poor preparation by the Independent National Electoral Commission is the reason why the elections were postponed. The PDP also said that just like the APC, it was frustrated by the development having traversed the whole country on campaign. Director General of the party's campaign organization, Amadou Ali, said at the news conference in Abuja that the shifting date is clearly meant to save INEC from national embarrassment. And the former PDP chairman argued that aside from millions of permanent voter cards which have not been distributed, there are issues with card readers and ballot papers.
There are also reports that the PVC readers are not fully distributed and tested. How can INEC handle cases of faulty card readers, especially in remote areas? Do they have a credible plan B in situations where voters are lined up and the card readers refuse to work? Ballot boxes are reportedly inadequate. Adequate training of staff for the election had not been concluded, and other problems facing INEC. Quite clearly, the shift in election date is meant to save INEC from monumental embarrassment. I would like to reiterate that the PDP is ready for the election.
We spoke yesterday, I believe, with, I think it was the day before yesterday, with INEC Chief Press Secretary. We're hoping to also get him online this morning. He was clear-cut in his submission, of course, just like his principal, that made mention of insecurity, especially the ongoing war against insurgency, and the fact that the security agencies could not assure INEC, could not certify their security if they go ahead with the elections. He also made it clear that about 67% of registered voters in Nigeria already have gotten their permanent voter cards as at February 6. Now, of course, this new trend of talking about ballot paper, sensitive and insensitive materials not ready, are new and latest developments as regards all of these reasons. Well, on the other side, the All Progressives Congress is now saying that indeed President Goodluck Jonathan and his party should clear the air on allegations of sinister motives behind the postponement of the elections. You also recall that we had on the show yesterday the APC National Publicity Secretary, who was of the opinion that probably the PDP saw the writings on the wall that General Muhammadu Buhari was leading in the opinion polls, and that indeed might have inspired the move to postpone the elections. He told me particularly that I seem to be the only Nigeria who cannot see the writing on the walls. This time around, the party is making it official, and the APC is saying it is necessary indeed for Mr. President to clear the air because not many people are convinced of the reasons for the shift in the dates of the election. APC campaign spokesman Garba Shehu said in a statement that In the aftermath of the postponement, there have been suggestions on the possibility of an interim government and likely sack of INEC chairman Atahiru Jega. Of course, on the papers this morning, there are also new reactions and developments to that as regards the INEC chairman going on a terminal leave. That indeed was another interesting story that came up yesterday. But this time around, PDP and the presidency is saying there is nothing like plans on the way to sack the INEC chairman, Professor Atahiru Jega. Meanwhile, the APC wondered why the National Security Advisor, Sambu Dasuki, recently went to Chatham House in the UK to call for election postponement. It also expressed concerns at his claims that Boko Haram will be crushed within 6 weeks. On Monday also, you recall that I was on telephone with Dr. Udenta, who happens to be the spokesperson for the Transformation Ambassadors of Nigeria, and he was clear as regards the comments of the NSA in faraway England. He says the NSA did not at any time suggest that elections be postponed by 6 weeks, but that's contrary to reports that the NSA actually made that recommendation, and the reason behind that recommendation wasn't about insecurity. It was about the possible disenfranchisement of certain Nigerians. Well, the PDP isn't done yet about reacting to the latest developments as regards the rescheduled dates for the general election, as the campaign organization of the PDP has also denied the general elections initially scheduled for February 14 and 28 were postponed principally because of Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast. Of course, spokesman for the campaign team, Femi Fani-Kayode, insisted that the decision never emanated from the Jonathan administration, but from INEC as a result of logistics challenge. And that's where we seem to have some level of confusion, because unlike what Professor Atahiru Jega said on Saturday night, which already, a news that was already on international media earlier that day, that the major reason why the elections are being postponed as a result of insecurity and the renewed efforts by coordinated African forces to fight insurgency. We're joined this morning by the Chief Press Secretary to the INEC Chairman, Kayode Idowu, on telephone. Hello, good morning, Kayode.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us today on Call Digest.
Okay.
Well, there are latest developments. Of course, the People's Democratic Party said yesterday through its Director General of the campaign organization, Amadou Ali, that the real reasons why the elections were postponed were because INEC had issues with card readers and ballot papers, aside from millions of PVCs which are yet to be distributed. Are you there, Kayode? Hello? Are you there? Okay. I'm just going to, we're going to try to reach him again. We're having challenges with that phone line, but I'm sure he'll be back with us shortly to have his own informed opinion as regards this issue. Meanwhile, Femi Fani-Kayode was with the BBC recently, and he insists that the decision to postpone election wasn't the idea of the PDP, neither is it the idea of the presidency, but it was INEC. And this time around, Kayode is saying, Femi Fani-Kayode, it's amazing that both of them answer Kayode. He's saying that INEC, the main reason why INEC postponed the election was as a result of logistic challenge. He also made known during the interactive session that INEC agreed to shift the dates because many eligible voters in Nigeria were yet to get their PVCs. Well, we're joined again now by Kayode Idowu. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Beautiful.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. What are your reactions to these latest developments? Of course, the PDP is saying that the main reasons why INEC postponed the elections, apart from the fact that millions of Nigerians haven't gotten their PVCs yet. Also, the Director General of the party's campaign organization, Amodu Ali, also mentioned issues as regards card readers and ballot papers. What are your thoughts along this line?
Thank you for the question. Now, the commission does not join issues with political parties. As an umpire, it does its job, it is passionate about its job, and so it takes the issues rather than to clear out on the field, which is supposed to moderate. So I will talk about INEC's processes, not about party not joining issues with any political party. In terms of card readers, the commission has done stock testing, integrity testing, quality assurance testing of the card readers. We have done that in many instances. Before now, we have called traditional rulers together, the most eminent in the land, and we asked them to bring their card readers in a summit setting. And we tested the card readers. We've called religious leaders together, we tested the card readers. We've called civil society organizations together, we asked them to bring their card readers, we tested them. We called even journalists together. And we said, as many of you have your permanent voter card, bring them. We will do a mock election here for you. And we tested those card readers. I mean, those card readers, yeah. So the commission has done substantial testing. The commission is assured of the quality of the card readers.
It's all right. But, you know, there's no way we can automatically also just disapprove the submissions of some of these political parties, because just as INEC is, there are also major stakeholders in the election. For instance, the PDP and the APC seem to be talking about the use of temporary voter cards again. One of the things I saw in the newspaper this morning is they are asking if INEC can explain how there will be more PVCs collection in a state like Borno compared to a state like Lagos in the southwest, where there is no insurgency at all.
You see, again, like I said, I will not take issues directly with political parties. But I can give you facts and figures. And because the commission's operations are dispassionate. In Abia is not in the north, it is in the southeast.
Okay.
The collection rate there is 77.64%. Akwa is in the southeast. The collection rate is 79.05%. Cross River is in the south, south. The collection rate is 73.13%. Rivers is in the south. The collection rate as a Friday was 74.84%. We need to be dispassionate in looking at these issues. When we look for conspiracy theory in everything, we always see a phantom design that do not. Now people have gone ahead to do geopolitical plotting on distribution of cards. INEC has no framework on geopolitical distribution. All the framework it has is for states, because we register on the state structure. And so in each state, we send cards to those states for people in the state to collect the cards. And for me, I would think that the challenge, if you have any particular state where collection is low, the challenge will have been to interrogate why is the collection low? What can we do to rally people to come out? Is it that the cards are not there? If the cards are there, since it is the same process across the country that is employed, the same distribution and collection that is employed, why are people not coming out to this place rather than the other place where people came out? Those are the issues.
Okay, but as Has INEC been able to identify the reasons why collection rates seem to be higher in the Northeast?
I'm saying collection rates, for instance, if you take INEC does not determine the union of people to come out to collect.
Okay.
That is why we do the control of INEC.
Is INEC, just a minute, Kade, is INEC considering the use of temporary voter cards, just like the calls seem to be rife now?
Absolutely not. Because we've gone past that. We've gone beyond that.
But what would be the implication?
The commission has not given 10 weeks of extension. The hope of the commission is that by the end of 2 weeks, getting into the third week, God helping us, it should be clear to the world that the cards that will be left with INEC are cards of people who are not available or who are not willing to collect.
But this 4 weeks extension you're talking about is obviously limited to those people who have already registered.
Absolutely.
Okay. What about people who are relocated? For instance, someone who registered in Benin and who now lives in Lagos. Does that individual has any opportunity whatsoever in this 4 weeks extension?
Unfortunately, no. And I will tell you why. If you recall, we certified the register on January 13th. We are not going back to uncertify that register. Because any change you make now, transfer, registration, whatever you make, affects the register. And so the register was certified on January 13th.
Okay.
If in the scheduling is not arbitrary, reverting to the starting blocks. It is done under the provision of the law that caters to emergencies. So you can't undo what you have done. Otherwise, we will be back to where we were many more than 2 years ago. So that is not the intent of this rescheduling.
It's all right.
The register has been certified. Those people who are already in the register, who have cards printed for them, should use the opportunity to pick the card in the places where it has been printed for them.
Just to clear the air, Kayode, are there any real issues with ballot papers and card readers as it is now?
Absolutely not.
It's all right. What do you think also would be the implication of using the TVC? Would it affect or compromise the card readers at all?
Yeah, you see, there's a lot of challenges using TVC. The first challenge is that the TVC cannot work with card readers.
Okay.
The TVC is cold laminated paper. You should recall, it is cold laminated paper. There are no chips on it. There is no biometrics on it. It is just a printout of the biometric record that you have in the register. The second point about using TV, so on election day, how will you handle it? So people will come with permanent voter cards. You say you use candidates to accredit. Others will come with temporary voter cards. You say just walk past and go and do your own voting. Is that the way you handle something? There will be chaos. So that is this sort of thing we have to be done. The second thing that you need to consider about the use of temporary voter cards is that the commission has optimized the register and eliminated over 4 million instances of multiple registrations. Now, for every instance of this multiple registration, there was a temporary voter card issued.
Okay.
The implication is that there are more than 4 million temporary voter cards out there whose records are no longer in the register because there are multiple registrations and have been eliminated. If any of these 4 million come out on election day and they go to where those things have been eliminated, there will be chaos.
I see.
So because they will be holding the card, saying I have a card, people will think the issue was with the register, whereas the issue was that there was a multiple registration that has been eliminated.
I see. So you're saying TVC is not a go area at all as we count down to the March 28th election?
Yeah.
Sorry, Kayode, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We hope also that you'll be a chance to join us subsequently as we follow up on developing stories on this show.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. I've been speaking with Kayode Dowu. He's the INEC Chief Press Secretary, and of course, he's reacting to certain developing reactions as regards the postponed election. Of course, the PDP is saying that beyond the insecurity excuse of INEC, there seem to be more than meets the eye. There seem to be more than what we saw on TV screen. But Kayode insists that, well, as far as INEC is concerned, there are no issues with card readers. There are no issues with ballot papers. As a matter of fact, there is an ongoing 4 weeks extension for people who are yet to collect their PVCs. Of course, that unfortunately might not cover those who are yet to register or those who have relocated from one part of the country to the other. Well, we are hopeful anyway that this time, this 6 weeks extension will be enough to clear the air. I'm particularly amazed that both PDP and APC are coming up again with the idea of using temporary voter cards. Of course, one of the examples given by one of the spokesmen of the PDP would be why, for instance, would there be more people collecting PVCs in Borno State more than in Lagos State? Lagos is in the southwest where there is no occurrence of insurgency. How come people living in northeast Nigeria seem to be more involved in this collection than people outside that area? Of course, INEC says it is beyond its purview to carry out investigation to find out that. But how all of this will also impact on the reactions and, of course, the steps that will be taken, only time will tell. But there's a call now that is rife as regards the use of temporary voter cards in this coming election. You heard Kayode Dowu say that indeed will compromise the integrity of the card readers. Temporary voter cards are just laminated papers, but the PVC, of course, carries a chip that can validate that the carrier is indeed the owner of the PVC. Well, let's find out more reactions as regards this postponement. This time around, we're going to Ogun State, where the state governor there, following the rescheduling of the 2015 general elections, is of the opinion that residents of his state and party supporters, indeed all Nigerians, need to be calm. Of course, he says the postponement is a blessing in disguise for his party. He also is of the opinion that the non-collection of the PVC is not an excuse for INEC, adding that the nation has never voted with a full percentage of voters before.
They will say, I said, no, nobody should shout. Oh, just wait. Indeed, probably it will be a blessing in disguise for us. Probably we will have beaten them maybe 80-20 or 9 will be total. Because, I mean, everybody is ready now. Now, is this what they want to do? We are ready for them. We are not going to fight. We are going to fight with our votes. And in any case, it gives everybody, at least for me, we've covered the 19th local government. You are here. We have only one local government to go, which we are starting tomorrow. So we are ready for the election. But they said they are pushing it forward, no problems. If they talk about even the cards, yes, even in Nigeria, we are the least. Ogun State is the least in terms of percentages that have been distributed. But for me, go and look at the history of Nigeria. The best we've achieved would be 57, 58, maybe at best 60%. Even it's strange when you have 50%. We are used to between 40-something and maximum 50-something, unless we have the right results. It's only where the right result that you will see people saying they score above 60. So if majority of the states within Nigeria have received in excess of maybe that 55-60%, for me, I'm comfortable to go into the election.
Well, I seem to beg to disagree with the Ogun State governor, because you recall that in 2011 there were over 70 million registered voters, but the total vote cast during that particular year was a bit over 30 million. It looks as if the higher the registered voters, of course, probably will also have a higher participation. For instance, now if we have just 66 million registered voters with their PVCs, that might also tell on the number of people who actually participate, because the truth is not everyone that collect the PVC will definitely go out on election day to vote. But I'm persuaded that these 4 weeks should be enough for Nigerians who have registered to go out there, irrespective of the challenges, to get their PVCs. And most importantly, we're also hopeful that we're going to have a peaceful electioneering season in Nigeria, where we will have less personality attack, but where political parties will be matured enough to discuss issues. Of course, there are reports that the APC presidential candidate said yesterday that he won't be he's still insisting that he won't be participating in debates, even with the extension by INEC. Yesterday was an interesting time of the show. We showed you a clip, audio clip released by one Captain Sager Okoli, who says he was part of a particular secret meeting held by certain political stakeholders in Ekiti on the eve of the June 21 governorship election. It's a revelation that keeps shocking many Nigerians. About 37-minute audio clip you'll find on YouTube if you care to check. Are you listening to me at all, MCR? I'm afraid you're not. But then this time around, there are also questions arrive as regards the authenticity of this particular clip, and if indeed this clip is authentic, what way forward for Nigeria? Would it be just another of those stories that come up and then that will sweep under the carpet? Of course, the APC National Publicity Secretary was with me yesterday, and he is of the opinion that this might not just be a legal issue, but a moral issue for Nigerians to decide. But on the other side of the divide, many Nigerians also are of the opinion that, well, the APC cannot claim to be angelic, that it is the best rigger that wins election in Nigeria, and it is only when you are caught that you can be identified as a thief. Of course, we also had Larry Olayinka, who happens to be the special assistant to Governor Fayose of Ekiti on communication and new media. His principal was alleged to be one of those people who was present at that meeting. Larry Olayinka says that this is the 21st century where anything can happen, that if you are very conversant with technological advancement, then you will understand that indeed there are software applications that can make that audio clip happen. But then we were in Ekiti. Our correspondent Rashid followed up on the war of words as regards this alleged leaked audio clip that talks about plans to rig the Ekiti election. The audio tip or clip rather also has continued to raise some dust in Ekiti State, as the state government now has threatened legal action against Sahara reporters and the All Progressives Congress over alleged blackmail. The government also added that the alleged audio clip will not affect the Court of Appeal ruling over the 2014 Ekiti governorship poll, which has reserved ruling over the matter. We spoke with Barrister Festus Keyamo yesterday, and we were wondering why this particular clip had not been submitted as an evidence in the ongoing tribunal trial. The APC seemed to be taking its time as regards this, but Rashid has certain details on this latest development from Ekiti.
Points canvassed by the tribunal were decided against the appellant, and we have tried to persuade the court to say that there are no valid reasons advanced in law for this court to depart from what the tribunal did.
He stated our points, and I think we should leave the matter for the tribunal to decide one way or the other. We felt for the Court of Appeal to decide one way or the other. We felt the lower tribunal was strong in reaching that decision. So it's for the Court of Appeal to now look into it and come to a decision whether the reason of the tribunal in that regard in striking out those paragraphs can be sustained.
Other places, when you have a case in court and you have evidence, you guide it jealously and take it to the court. So why we're excited over somebody who has a case in court and claims to have a damning evidence, but instead of taking it to court because it won't stand up, he takes it to the social media. The Sahara reporters themselves have approached by proxy Mr. Governor to exchange that for money. They are blackmailers. And when we said go ahead, we are not buying We are not buying. They approach almost everybody that they claim were to be in that conversation.
Ogunshi also added that the promoters of the alleged rigging tape will answer to the courts over the matter.
Mr. Governor is contemplating taking legal action. We are talking with our lawyers. We are going to seek legal redress, both here in Nigeria and in America. You know, because you cannot just wake up one day, make some simulations and animations, and then claim that you are going to release the...
Well, unlike what he said, Leo Olayinka yesterday didn't budge when I asked him if his principal was planning to take any legal actions against this latest development. It looks as if they're changing their minds every minute, and we're hopeful that indeed the truth will surface as regards this issue. You also recall that on Monday we talked about how important it is to note that unlike insinuations that if the elections were postponed, there would be outbreak of violence across the country. My panelist, one of my panelists, Bola Oba, said that he noticed the presence of military officials somewhere in Lagos immediately that pronouncement was made. Well, that might not be far-fetched, as associates of the national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, have raised the alarm on the presence of soldiers in the vicinity of his Lagos residence in the last 3 days. Media aides at the opposition figure said in a statement that soldiers numbering about 30 had been sighted in 3 patrol vans and an army truck close to the gate of Tinubu's private residence along Borderland Road in Ikoyi. They said the soldiers were first noticed on Sunday at about 11 p.m. in an army truck stationed 500 meters away from Tinubu's gate and had been around since then on surveillance. Exactly sounds like what Boloba said on Monday, that he also made that particular observation. We had another caller from Niger State, I believe, who also corroborated Boloba's opinion, who says that indeed there were certain presence of Nigeria military immediately after the pronouncement. Tinubu's media aides now note that as of Tuesday morning, 2 army vans were stationed in both sides of the house along Borderland Road, and but reacting to the development, the APC leader said it would not be intimidated by what he described as a show of strength and possible harassment. He, however, insisted that he would remain resolute in his advocacy and support for the rule of law. Now, let's quickly move away from that story and find out reactions to some of the developing stories yesterday. Yesterday, you recall the Nigerian military, especially the NSA, saying that they would defeat Boko Haram within 6 weeks. Reactions are rife now as regards where that confidence is coming from, given the fact that insurgency has been around for a while, and the federal government and, of course, the Nigerian military had enough time in their hands prior to this time to make this happen. A civil rights group, the National Conscience Movement, has dismissed claims by the NSA, Sambo Dasuki, that Boko Haram will be crushed within 6 weeks. You recall that the NSA had said this in the aftermath of the postponement of the general election, when people were asking, I hope the elections will be postponed again after 6 weeks if there haven't been a record of success in the ongoing war against insurgency. This group said at a news conference in Abuja that Dasuki is simply setting the stage for another excuse. Its members insist that the NSA cannot be trusted and are demanding that he step down from the position.
I understand Dasuki to be saying that there will be no elections. That's the meaning of what he's saying. Nigerians should take that statement to mean that Dasuki is saying there will be no elections, because a man who has told 9 lies and only told 1 truth cannot be taken on the strength of that single truth. So I want to believe that that statement is part of the game of deceiving Nigerians to calm down and then give them some level of trust.
We've asked this same commander-in-chief and his security advisor, what is your plan for fighting the insurgency for almost 2 years? And mom has been the answer. So what has changed from the defensive position of protecting Maiduguri, Yola, and all the state capitals? that the military would not be able to go into an offensive position to crush the insurgents? Is it the multinational forces that will be used? What intel do the multinational forces have? The multinational forces do not even have a roadmap yet. They do not even know where their funding is coming from. So why is he insulting the intelligence of Nigerians? Because of their own hidden agenda.
Would you rather call them pessimistic if indeed they are saying that they don't believe in the capacity of the Nigerian military to make this happen in 6 weeks? I think that just like Dr. Joe Odumaki would say, that she is a terrific optimist. At this particular time, Nigerians might also want to be optimistic because all of our hope lies in God, of course, but also we don't have God here in person. The Nigerian military, we've got to trust to make this happen for us. The former information minister and the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, prior to this time, he was a minister in Mr. President's cabinet. No one could thought that in just a twinkle of an eye, he could leave the PDP for APGA. But unlike the expectation of people who leave their parties, it looks as if Marcus still got his principles back, because this time around he is saying that he's convinced that President Goodluck Jonathan will win the March 28 presidential election. According to him, this is because elections are not won on the pages of newspapers or in the social media. He said at the news conference in Abuja that the reality on ground across the country is different from propaganda on non-performance. He also threatened legal action against people behind claims that he accused the president of encouraging insurgency in the country.
As I campaign for the president around Nasarawa State, I see that there is a wide gap between the stories in the social media and the regular media and what my people are thinking. And that's why I say the silent majority will shock you on March 28. You know, whereas when I open newspaper pages and look at the social media, it looks, you know, the President Jonathan as a monster. You know, but as I go around to the villages and places to campaign for the president, there is loud ovation. Loud ovation. And I can tell you, in Nasarawa State, the president is going to win his election by a wide margin. But in my own right, as a citizen and leader in Nasarawa State, I believe that I'm better than all the candidates put there together, and that the people of Nasarawa State will overwhelmingly vote for me on April 11 to give journalists 1 out of 36 states. Not because I'm a journalist. Not because I'm a journalist, but because if you look at my public career, from university to now, I mean, I stand shoulder high above all my competitors. And that is why when I felt I was unfairly skimmed out of the local branch of my party, I felt I must extend the frontiers of choice. As I said, this is the political Premier League season in Nigeria. And so every party is looking for a Ronaldo and a Messi. But the PDP in Nasarawa State abandoned Ronaldo, and APGA came and bought him. and I'm now set to score the decisive goal on April 11.
The guy is a good talker, but they say talk is cheap. Let's hope that he can match his oratory prowess and dexterity with the highest number of votes come April 11 in Nasarawa. All right, we'll take a break here, and I'll be back with top stories making headline on some of Nigerian newspapers. Stick around, don't go away.
The man on the streets have come to realize that the power to make decisions lies in the hands of the people.
The president is the most guided person in Nigeria. And men getting to him is like, we all know it's a political propaganda, so I don't believe what he said is true.
But they are not just ordinary people.
Up to that time, when you look at Nigeria, Nigeria has been a confluence of a theater of anarchy, confusion, dichotomy, marginalization, and a lot of lamentations have been existing.
They are people of influence.
I'm not happy. How can my brother plan against me to kill me when you know that I'm in power? to save you. I protected you to make things good for everybody in Nigeria. Not even I. Everybody in Nigeria.
And they are very, very important.
What we want now is who will salvage Nigeria. We are not interested in tribe or ethnicity or whatever. Who will save Nigeria?
The people, only on Core TV News.
This morning, Nigerians encourage corruption, cites University of the Punch newspaper. And Nigerian Governor Forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
The dailies every day on Core TV News.
Thanks for staying the course on the show this Wednesday. Let's find out what the top stories are on some of Nigerian dailies. I have just three of them here: The Guardian, The Vanguard, and The Punch newspaper. Let's start with The Guardian. If you're ready. Yes, indeed, I am. The top story here says controversy over alleged military surveillance on Tinubu's residence. That's on the front page of The Guardian newspaper. The writer, Fashola, APC, others condemn move. I can't be intimidated. Okay, what I'm reading is somewhere on the lower side of the paper. Okay, I'm afraid the camera lens didn't grab that. I can't be intimidated, says ex-governor, and Army denies allegation. You have details of that story on the front page. It continues on page 2 of The Guardian. The front page picture here shows Cross River State Governor Leah Lemoke. On the left, you have President Women Arise, Dr. Joe Dumake, Chairman, National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidio Dikalo. All of them during a conference on dissemination of guidelines on gender-based violence among young persons in Nigeria, organized by Women Arise for Change Initiative yesterday. Why internet exchange points suffer low patronage in Nigeria? The writers, service providers still route traffic abroad. Only 37 out of the 184 operators connected. Atcan claims harsh business climb, crippling members. You have details of that story on the front page. It also continues on page 2 if you care to check. New NLC president, other officers emerge tomorrow. That's on page 4. IG redeploys 33 commissioner of police nationwide. That's on page 73. And it's day 303. The Guardian says, bring back our girls. Let's move away from there quickly and find out what the stories are today on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. The top story here, PDP to INEC, allow use of TVCs for voting. The writers here queries anomalies in distribution of PVCs, blames INEC for poor voters' education as APC applies to join in suit seeking use of TVCs. I spoke earlier with the Chief Press Secretary of INEC on the show this morning, and he's of the opinion that TVC is a no-go area for Nigeria because there are about 30 million voters that were registered that were cancelled, so to speak, as a result of double registration from the 2011 voter register. So the use of TVC might bring back these ghost voters, and it might just be an avenue to rig the elections, especially at a time where there is an introduction of the card readers. Now, what the card reader does is confirms that you indeed are the owner of the PVC you claim to carry. The front page picture here on the Vanguard newspaper shows a meeting. From left, you have United Nations convoy representative, and then you have the UN Special Envoy, and you have President Goodluck Jonathan at a meeting in Abuja yesterday. Soldiers deployed to Tinubu's Lagos home. That's on page 10. Presidency debunked rumors of Jega's removal. That's on page 8. Fuel subsidy up by 1 naira 79 kobo per litre as price rises. That's on page 8 of the Vanguard. All right, let's check out what Mr. and Mrs. has to offer, or what they have to offer this Wednesday. The Mr. says, why shouldn't I pray on behalf of the family? After all, I'm the head. And then the woman says, that's what you said when you prayed for only 4 children. First, we had a set of triplets. We expected just 1 to complete your wish, but another 3 came. Amazing. On the back page of the Vanguard this morning, as I fetch for some sports stories, why Keshi should stay. NFF Technical Committee, you get details of that on page 63. Black Stars get 4.3 million naira each. Hayatu wants to stay on. Okay, Hayatu wants to stay on. CAF requires officials who reach 70 to step down, but a change will be proposed and discussed at the Congress in April. Well, I'm not sure it's as old as a Blatter. CAF might also want to consider that. PIDIC, AFCON 2015 would have been better with Nigeria. You get details of that on page 41. On the Punch newspaper this morning, the big one here, Paul delay, soldiers lay siege to Tinubu's home. You get details of that story on page 2 of the Punch. Nigerians won Jonathan, military against media clampdown. Page 3 of the Punch. The front page picture here shows members of the Beko Rights Club during a procession to mark the 9th Bekolari Ransom Kuti Memorial in Lagos. And to other stories now, IG redeploys 33 CPs ahead of elections. Page 8, Obasanjo endorses Buhari. Page 8, what some would say it is an highly anticipated move by the former president. I want to find out details of that story on page 8 of the Punch. I won't go on terminal leave, says Jega. Page 7, and federal government, states, local governments shared 7.5 trillion naira in 2014. Boko Haram, Niger to deploy troops in Nigeria. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Okay, and that wraps it on the dailies this morning. Of course, you can lay your hand on any of your choice. Of course, and you also recall that at 11 o'clock, the top of the hour, we'll be back here bringing you up to date with the stories as they break in Nigeria and beyond. I'll take another break now, and I'll be joined by my guest on the show this morning. Stick around, don't go away.
Nigerians encourage corruption, cites Jane Festa of the Punch newspaper. Nigerian government forum calls for Okonjo Iweala's resignation. Page 2 of the Punch newspaper.
The dailies every day on Core TV News.
It's another beautiful and exciting moment. Welcome to Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes. We tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well, try your eyes.
So stomach infrastructure is a way of life. Even if I cannot do anything, and I continue to help your stomach so that your life will keep on going. Stomach infrastructure is a way of life for me.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
We mean to win Lagos. PDP is going to win Lagos in 2015.
INEC has colluded with the presidency, the opposing party, to rig this election from the data to the end.
The 2015 general elections must be the best.
The good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on Core TV News. From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
I see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president
of Nigeria. Only on Core TV News.
You can now watch Core TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Core TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Core TV, leave a space, then News. Core TV News, a 24-hour news station.
Thanks for staying the course on the show today, and we'll continue in our discussion on the rescheduled general elections in Nigeria. Of course, the fallout, the anticipations, and some reactions as well on the show this morning. I'm joined now by public affairs analyst WILCOX ALESTA. Good morning, and thank you for finding time to join us today.
Well, good morning.
Good to have you on the show.
Nice to be in your beautiful studio again.
Oh, I see. All right, let's find out, because if it was February 14, it would be like 3 days countdown to election. But now we're talking about 45 days to elections. What are your initial reaction to this news of postponement?
Well, just like every other Nigerian reacted, well, those who had clamored for the postponement positively, and those who never wanted the postponement, of course, negatively. I'm one of them that never wanted the postponement because of the fever pitch, of the level of tempo that has already existed. But it's also, the proposal has come, the reasons given, the either genuine or non-genuine, the underlying reasons, the real reasons, and the motivational reasons that are being given, it's okay. And the fact that now that well, the only advantage being the fact that it will afford INEC a little bit of more opportunity to fine-tune their programs and their plans. That is, and the caveat here is, if some of the things that we hear, some of the kite that have been flown around, some of the underlying assumptions that we had are not true. If these things are based purely on the fact that Nigeria needed that election to be postponed.
But then the PDP thinks that insecurity is not just the main reason, that INEC isn't well prepared for this election.
That's where I have an issue.
That's
where I have an issue. You see, the PDP is speaking from various sides of their mouth, because the PDP is the one that's even championed this postponement. In the sense that it was the NSA that first of all flew the kite about postponement when he went to Chatham House in London to say that the election should be postponed because
does that opinion represent the intention of the PDP as a political party?
He is a member of the PDP. He's serving in a PDP government, and therefore, and he's a high-ranking Nigerian official. In fact, if you begin to put them in command, as far as the presidency is concerned, he should be ranked like number 2 person or number 3 in terms of high ranking, because this is the man that oversees the security of the president and of the country. Therefore, it would be foolhardy for anybody to believe that such a high-ranking official can go out to London to make such a policy statement without clearance or without first.
Well, in your opinion, do you think that INEC really is ready? As at February 16, Kayode Idowu confirmed with us on the show, I believe on Monday, that about 67% of registered voters had gotten their PVCs.
Well, if I see from face value, I wouldn't say INEC has never been ready for any elections in Nigeria. It has always been this fire brigade approach. We must get that clear.
So the PDP is right, is that what you're saying?
No. You see, because like I said, there are other. Because INEC said they are ready. And I, as a voter with just one vote, do not have any reason to say they are not ready. Now, we all have criticized INEC even through the PVC distribution. We've criticized INEC during a Ekiti election, yet it held. A Ekiti election held with less than 60% of people collecting their PVC. Osun held with less than 60% collecting their PVC. And the election was held. Ekiti, PDP jubilated, and Ekiti governor was elected with about 210,000 votes out of registered votes of about 700 to 800,000. A governor is sitting down presiding over a government with less than 1/4 of the electorate electing him. But and then the PDP held it. It was good for democracy. Oshun had a similar instance. Aregbesola won the election with about 300-something thousand votes, as against about 1.2, 1.3 million registered votes. Also, less than 25% of the registered votes. Put Aregbesola in power. The same thing to Mimiko. Mimiko was elected with about 200,000 votes, as against 1.4, 1.6 million, about 1.2, 1.4 million registered voters in the same thing to Anambra. So there has never been a time you have up to 80% of people electing a governor of a state in all the elections conducted by this administration.
What about the question of even distribution? Because that seems to be what the PDP is saying. For instance, they are asking, how can Borno State, which is under SAID, register more PVC collections than Lagos State in Southwest Nigeria?
No, whose problem is that? You see, when people, I think it's some nonsensical insinuations, and that leads credence to the fact that people, that is the real reasons, and not just are just coming out. Because now everybody's been shouting for Jega's head. Jega should go. Jega should go. Jega runs Jega is the chairman of the commission, is the head of the commission. But Jega works with about how many commissioners? I don't have the figure offhand. Commissioners that are almost at the same high ranking with him. Then he has recs, 37 recs that are working with him. So, and Jega is not the only person taking decisions in INEC. Jega is the chairman of INEC. He's not the only person taking decisions. Jega works with a team. So if anybody is shouting Jega, I think people should just be more sensible and be more act more educational than they are all. Proposing. Then say that leadership of INEC should go. Remember I said Jega should go. Was it Jega that distributed the one in Borno State? There's a wreck in Borno. There is a commissioner that represents the Northeast in the commission.
You know, amazingly,
I'm coming. Let me just say this. So if it is not Jega that went to the streets of Borno to distribute PVCs one after, and don't forget, my brother, these things didn't all happen in one day. They picked states that they distributed PVCs by. They segmented it. They picked states according to certain parameters. I don't know the parameters they use. When they came to Lagos, initially it was supposed to be for 2 days. And I can tell you for free, I got my PVC the first day they started it. I was traveling to I was to leave to the UK that evening. And it started that day. I mentioned them that day. I went to the my polling booth unit. We had in my polling unit, we have very streamless less problems, streamless collection of our PVCs. And I collected on that same day. But I'm not saying the fact that there were no issues. Lots of issues, even to the point that the Lagos State governor didn't get. The Sultan of Sokoto said he didn't get. The Bongbong Jos said he didn't get. So even when people begin to pigeonhole one state and say Borno,
just a minute.
Borno got more. Why didn't Ekiti get more when it was to have election?
Let's take this call from Anambra. Hello, good morning, Tochukwu.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you today?
I'm very fine.
Let's go ahead with your contribution.
Okay. I want to comment on the newspaper report that soldiers were stationed the particular house of an opposition leader. I think the opposition should stop this franchise of raising unnecessary alarm. Since when does 500 meters far away from somebody's house becomes his house? Or are they trying to say that he is the only one who is living along that place? I mean, this hue and cry or necessary hue and cry raises a lot of mischief. So please, they should stop it. The politics don't want more of it. Then, having said that, I want to still allude to the argument that there is substantial reason to believe that INEC is not ready for this election. If you check the figures that have been rallied around all this while, you would recall that there was a day I raised an alarm that even in Lagos, as at Friday last week, about 12,000 card readers are not ready. That is the information we have. That is for Lagos alone. Not to talk of all that states that we have similar cases. And you would also discover that from INEC's figure, about 20 million Nigerians have not collected their PVC. And when we are talking about 20 million, you would agree with me that this is almost equal to the population of a particular West African country. So if you want to discountenance the fact that 20 million voters is too much, then you won't be telling yourself the truth. Then again, finally, the number INEC is even quoting to have distributed. If you go to local government, you will see it lying down there. So the postponement of this election, I think, is a welcome development. It will avail people the opportunity to go and collect their PVC. And finally, please, the security agents should please do as a matter of urgency what they can to quell the spirit of insurgency in the Northeast so that we can continue with our elections. I welcome the contribution of the AU. They have raised quite a number of soldiers to support us, and the opposition and politicians should give our military time to at least restore a reasonable normalcy. I'm not saying that they're going to quell Boko Haram students in this week, please. They are saying that they should be given a time. Having signed an MOU with some of these neighbors, they should be given time to at least secure our borders.
It's all right. Thank you very much, Tochukwu, for your contribution from Anambra. Amazingly, I spoke with the INEC Chief Press Secretary earlier on the show this morning, and I was asking him about the same comparison between Lagos and Borno. He was of the opinion that it's not in the powers of INEC to decide what are the factors. But isn't it worthy of examination?
No.
If a particular state in a region ridden by insurgency seems to have a higher collection rate than other parts of the country.
What is the total number of persons? Don't forget that these same persons are going about their lives. Despite that there is insurgency, they're going about their lives. Now, Borno State, we're just singular Borno State. You see, each time we make comparison, and that is the problem I have with we Southerners. We're treating the country as if it is a war between the South and the North. Every day we hear, how can Kano have more local government than Lagos? How can Kano have more? That is, it's always the psyche. It is the North and us. It is not and us. I think it's not healthy. I mean, the last caller, Tochukwu, is from Anambra State. Anambra State is the size of Anambra State population. Anambra State has 33 local government. Is it 33 or 28 local governments? More than Lagos. Nobody talks about that. Lagos is 10 times more, about 5 times more populated than Anambra State. But Anambra State has more local government than Lagos. Nobody talks about that. But people always say, why should Kano have more local government than Lagos? Nobody talks about Ogun State that has equal number of local government that I mean with Lagos. Nobody talks about that. So is this idea of North and we're creating too much divisions in the land. If Borno State was able to mobilize themselves and get 80% distribution, is it just like Idowu said? Is it the fault of INEC in Abuja? If Lagosians are so busy, we are so busy in Lagos that the first 3 days people did not go out to collect their PVCs. INEC has been shouting and shouting and shouting. Yes, I mean, not discounting the area that some names were missing when they were doing the office. A lot of names, and so they say we register. But stacks and piles of PVCs are available in the same polling units. People have not collected it. Don't forget that a lot of demography have changed. People have relocated. Some people, unfortunately, are no longer living. So when somebody said a branch of 20 million, and don't forget that there were multiple registrations. There were multiple registrations in the voter register. That was why I keep saying it. When good elections are conducted, you will see the difference. For instance, I take the case of Ondo State. Ondo State, they used the TVCs to conduct the election. What was the total turnout? Less than 600,000. But in 2011, when they did the president election, Ondo State, go and check the record, turned in 1.2 million votes for the president. But when they did the real election, when the real election took place, when people were when there was balance of power, everybody was now alive to the responsibility. You discover that the figure went down drastically. So most of our electoral register is filled with fraudulent names, and you cannot hold INEC responsible for piles and sacks of PVCs not collected by people who are not existing, who are fake registrants and all whatnot. And I think that is where the ruling party is having issue.
Just a minute, WILCOX. Let's take a commercial break, and we'll be back with more on the show. Don't go away.
Has it been a difficult task for you to purchase exquisite, classic, durable and sturdy furniture that will last the test of time? Here is good news for you. Purchase high-quality furniture for your household, offices, hotels, and schools at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Office address, Goshen Plaza, Showroom 28, Kubo Furniture Market, AYA, Nyanya Road, Abuja. Telephone 0803 119 1444 or 09291 7482. Email princeemeka240@yahoo.com. info@princeinterior.com. Website www.princeinterior.com. Purchase your furniture at Prince Interior Furnishing and Furniture Company Limited. Classic, strong, exquisite.
For staying with us on Core Digest Wednesday, don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter at Core Digest Live. We'd love to get your comments and your contribution via that medium as well. You can also reach us on telephone. The phone lines, I believe, will come on your screen any moment from now. You can view us from anywhere in the world via internet. All you need to do is download the Wahoo TV application on your device. Of course, follow the instructions and Core TV News will pop up right there on your screen. WILCOX ALESTA is my guest analyst on the show today. Thank you for staying the course on the program.
Thank you very much.
Another reason PDP is given is that it's blaming INEC for poor voters' education. Because I am concerned as an individual, could that be the reason why more people got PVCs in Borno than in Lagos? Well, voter education?
Well, more people didn't get PVC in Borno than in Lagos. More people got in Lagos than in Borno, if you put it on the number. Borno has about 1.something million voters. Lagos has about 6 million.
They're talking about the collection rate.
Yes, Lagos has about 6 million. So naturally, you discover that the people that will collect in Lagos, maybe if 2 million, 3 million collect in Lagos, that's 50%. If 500,000 collects in Borno, that's about 70% already. So if you're looking at percentage, then there's an issue. That's why I say we are being unacademical with our position. We are being dubious with our positions when things like this are said. And sincerely speaking, I'm ashamed that PDP that enjoyed a fictitious victory in 2011 and hailed Jega, enjoyed a victory in Ekiti and hailed Jega. It's the same PDP now that is probating and reprobating, according to lawyers who say it. Today, Jega is a bad man. Jega must be killed. The same PDP that won a victory in 2011 and Jega was hailed as, oh, we have a credible man. In fact, part of what the PDP is using to tout as President Jonathan's achievement is the fact that they brought in a credible man to man INEC. That has been part of the so-called achievement they've had. So they had a credible man in INEC, and that was good. But now, because maybe 700,000 people collected in Borno State, and then 3.5 million collected in Lagos State, and you're now beginning to put in percentage terms. You're not saying Borno was far better, that Borno had better collection rate. Put it in figures. Let us know how many people collected. What is the voting population of Borno? How many people collected? You will discover that Lagos has collected far more than Borno.
Let's take this call.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Welcome to Core Digest.
Yeah, my name is Salisu. I'm calling from Niger State.
How is Niger this morning, Salisu?
Ogafemi, I'm very happy. Just that I'm not happy by the postponement of our election.
Cheer up, my brother, cheer up.
See, some people are calling on Jega that Jega is a bad man today. Jega is a real man. Jega is ready to give 11-1 field for every party in Nigeria.
Exactly.
But if you watch Mr. President before, he said he wants to give us a free and fair general election, and they are going to agreement with the Jega. And Jega said the only way they will go into e-voting system, and they have all agreed. And today, some people are telling us that we can, even PDP themselves, they are condemning the e-voting now. They are saying that Jega should go to the old way of voting, because they have seen that the ground is shaking. So PDP, they should stop confusing us. All those they are followers, we have already know their weakness. So they should not tell us that Jega is the bad man today. We will not accept it.
It's all right.
A lie. Jega should carry on. I like the man. And many people, millions of Nigeria like him. We hate him before, but now we embrace him as a nice person.
See, that is the thing. When he's working to your favor, it's
then
good.
You
when,
like him.
Yeah, when he's working to your favor, it's good. But when he's not working to your favor, it's the same. I mean, Jesus, it was done to Jesus. So I'm seeing it on national on TV. Hail him. Next day, crucify him. It depends on the side of the
have we been able to scratch beyond the surface as being able to identify the main reasons why these elections were rescheduled? Because now the PDP is coming up to say it's not just a function of insecurity in northeast Nigeria, it's a function of poor preparation on the part of
That's
INEC.
why I said the PDP is speaking from various sides of them, and that is the sign of desperation that they have always accused the opposition about. You see, when you go for a contest, you expect that the president pride himself, the PDP, instead of pride themselves on the fact that they conducted good elections when they came into power. We'll give it to them. In some of the cases, of course, a sitting governor lost in Ekiti, and he congratulated the man. In Osun, they won. They lost in Anambra, and they went to court. So when you go for a contest, you don't expect that you must win all the time. And so because you've seen that the handwriting on the wall that you are not getting it, and then you now begin to want to put span in the works. And then let us look at it. Now the goalpost is shifting. The main reason they said election should be postponed was security, because Jega said the service chiefs wrote to him saying they could not guarantee security because of their activities in the northeast. And so that is the reason that Nigerians will take. And of course, Nigerians are keen into that reasons. There were issues with distribution of PVCs. I don't work for INEC. And like I said, there are stacks and stacks of PVCs not collected by people. Either they are not available to collect them, or there was some mix-up, and which goes across every region. If the Sultan of Sokoto didn't get his PVC, then I don't know where you are blaming somebody. And you see, I do not understand if we want a country that moves forward. Now, the INEC came up with creating more pooling units to decongest the ones they have. Oh, people shouted, and the South. And as I said, see, with the South, I think somehow, I want to say that we are part of the major problem this country is having, because we tribalize everything. Oh, the commission created more pooling booths. They didn't create pooling new registers. They decentralized pooling so that more people can have access to vote. Oh no, he created more in the north. Why will he create more in the north than few in the south and all that? The commission will come and say, okay, let's cancel it. Now, oh, it is because they distributed more in the north and less in the south. Why are we doing this to our psyche? And the persons that are doing this, most of these persons are in their 70s and in fact above their 70s. And they still sow the seed of discord into this country, polluting the minds of the young ones. Instead of building the United Nations, instead of trying to build the United Nations, they still sowing seed of discord in the minds of the of the younger ones that are coming, and younger ones are with infallible minds. They are buying into this, creating a wider gap of division. Everything is looked at the side of north and south, and I tell you, there is no government that has so polarized Nigeria than this administration. And it's not the fault of the president. It's the fault of the handlers. People see themselves as, oh, it is our president, it's the clannish president, it's the president of the South, and therefore we must do everything. When elder statesmen like Pat Clark, Femi Okurumu, and Ezife will now hold a press conference to now derogate the presence of the INEC chairman, calling for his resignation because more people in Borno State got more percentage of people in Borno State got more than people in River State. Put them in figure terms. That's what I'm saying. Put them in figure terms. Don't give us percentages. Put them in figure terms and tell me the total number of persons that have collected. I'm a Southerner. I'm from the South, but I'm a Nigerian #1, and I need the unity of this country. I don't have any other country to go to. I only have Nigeria. If others have passport and have buildings outside and their children are outside and they can run away, some of us do not. And so we must speak for the unity of this country. And again, the use of the military in every dispensation in this country. We just read on paper now how the military, went to lay siege in and somebody's just telling me 50 meters, it's from 500 meters is somebody's houses. See, truth, we have thrown truth away in this land. And a people that throws truth away in preference of falsehood and deliberate mischief cannot make progress. Why were they not there? We also read from people that government house Owerri troops were deployed there. Why are we lying to ourselves? If this is not the idea, why were the troops not there last week?
Let's consider another twist to this development. The Vanguard seemed to capture it well. PDP to INEC allow use of TVCs for voting. And before you say PDP is speaking with different sides of the mouth, APC is also applying to join in this suit, seeking the use of TVCs.
APC's position is not the use of TVCs.
Well, I hope that is true.
They went to the court. The PDP is going to court to say the court should compel INEC to use PVC, while APC wants to join in that suit so as an interested party so that they will oppose the use of TVC. Now, we have the same PDP that is using a slogan, we don't want to go back to our ugly past, against General Buhari. It's not saying that INEC is making progress to reform our electoral system, just like in line with other people, with other countries. And we accepted PVC in Ekiti election. I just give you the statistics. Less than 400, about 400,000 people collected their PVCs in Ekiti. An election was conducted. Less than 60% of the district. And PDP accepted it. They hailed the victory. Today they have a PDP governor in Ekiti state. Ditto Osun state. It was only in Anambra that they use PVC. Ditto in Osun state. Today, now, you are not saying we should go back to the ugly past that you are campaigning against. You are using against General Mahmoud, but he represents the ugly past. You now still want us to go back to the ugly past instead of moving forward. Are we treating Nigeria as a country, or are we treating Nigeria just as a personal entity? I tell you something. Ghana has had one chairman of the electoral body since the return of democracy, Professor Guy Afraya. I don't know if I'm getting his name correctly. One, and he has conducted every election so far. I don't know when he's retiring, but every day in Nigeria, it is one allegation against one person. We know what some persons did, what inglorious people did, people like Maurice Iwu, what they did to our electoral system. Maybe if the former man, although he's late now, was there, maybe he would have perfected our electoral system. But I think so far, Jega we've had his criticism in 2011. He told you if he has better time, he will prepare better elections. He has been trying to prepare to get a better elections. It does not be perfect, and a device has been introduced to make it better and to get it better. Yet people say we should go back to the inglorious past. I think.
What really do you think would be the truthful and main motive behind the call for the usage of TVCs in this election, where we've already started talking about card readers and permanent voter cards?
I saw Chief Bode George, regrettably, I mean, a man in the 70s that should tell the truth about himself because of the posterity of the generation that can be after him, and he's a leader. I saw him on TV on Sunday trying to discredit the card reader in such a vehement manner. I'm struggling to discredit it. Now, I've not seen the card reader before, but if for anything we are told, the commission said we want to use card reader so as to authenticate. Now, the TVC cannot be used, cannot be electronically authenticated. So anybody can clone, anybody can come with it and vote. And the register of the TVC is so wide. And I give you statistics. I had to give statistics here, where in some states you have over 700,000, 800,000 persons the voters. By the time PVC are collected, you have 400,000. The register has been cleaned up. So what PDP is looking for is for us to go to a regular path where they can award themselves victory.
Let's take
like
another
they did in 2011.
Commercial break here, and we'll be back with more. Keep the calls coming. We'll open the phone lines right after this break. Stick around.
Which person can you carry?
And we now for MTN
Catch Press.
You see the look? Plenty people don't they win 10 million naira every week and 1 million naira every day. To win, just dial *170# for free and correct who go with you. Whether that TV or generator or phone, you fit win all for free every day.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Back at School Digest Wednesday as we continue our discussion on the rescheduled 2015 general elections. Let's get to the phone lines and find out what the viewership opinions are on the show this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm Lukman from Abia State.
Lukman from Abia.
Niger.
Okay. Please go ahead with your contribution, Lukman.
Yes, I'm watching your program, and yes, I'm watching your program.
Okay.
And I appreciate the contribution of the guests. But I want to say you one thing. You see, the Nigerians, as your guest has said, are not sincere with themselves, especially our leaders. You see, all this that is happening by PDP. You see, the people that registered, most of them have collected their cards. Most of these who have not collected now are fake ones.
Exactly.
Or the ones that are not sincere of themselves. Even like some of the top people that are complaining that they've not collected their own, they are all deliberate efforts to tally the efforts of the INEC. For example, now you can see that plan that they should extend the election is because they want to pave way for more people to collect these cards now. Anyhow, they want to violate the rules so that many people will collect these cards wrongly. Then if they don't use the card reader, they will now use that opportunity to rig to favor them. You can see people crooks like religious. Look at what they are talking. This is their aim. They should allow us to use it so that wherever it is in Nigeria and is interested in voting, between now and the time given, and let them go and collect their PVC. Whoever does not go has disenfranchised himself.
It's all right. I believe you made your points there, Lukman from Niger. Thank you for your contribution. Let's look at the larger picture. Many are saying that, of course, this extension, INEC already also has extended the collection of the PVCs by 4 weeks, and that probably the brighter side of it will be that we would have more people collecting their PVCs. Would you see that overwhelming the myriad challenges that we're talking about?
We're not downplaying the real reason why the government wanted the election postponed, which is the security. I would rather have dwelled more on the security. But if that opens the window, a vista of opportunity for more people to collect their PVCs, all well and good. Just like the last caller said.
Maybe the main reason, after all, is the PVCs.
Just like
because that's what everybody's talking about.
Said. No, for me, I think the security should be the main reason, because that's the reason we are giving. But if the PVC become an dangerous reason, then all well and good. But just like last caller said, most of the real voters have collected. Most of those that really want to collect, yes, I know that there are still hitches here, but I can tell you, the 20 million figure brandishing everywhere cannot be true, because I'm sure the man in Anambra has collected his own. A lot of people have collected their own. So that 20 million figure might not just be it. They may fall into those fake voters and double registrants and everything. But let's give it that they will do. But for me, the security issue is more important, because the army said, the military said 6 weeks to substantially degrade the capacity of Boko Haram so that they can guarantee security in the northeast. Well, I hope that what has grown as a monster over the past and get really serious over the past 4 years can be substantially degraded in the next 6 weeks. But for me, how tenable is that reason? We were about conducting an election in Adamawa, conventional election in Adamawa last year. Is it December or November? When suddenly, just a week or two to the election, the court stopped it because by awarding the deputy governor, that election would have been held. In that same northeast, Adamawa, people were campaigning. Campaigns were going on, even when Mubi was overrun by the Boko Haram.
That's why I'm saying that probably...
Mubi it was the home state of the chief of defense staff. It was overrun by... And that is in Adamawa state. But even as at then, the PDP and everybody were bent on holding that
campaigns were holding on.
So I don't understand. I mean, there was a by-election in Adamawa, in Yobe sometime last year. There has been by-elections everywhere. So I don't know, but let me give it to them, because the life of every Nigerian is important. But if we, and as I said from my opening statement, let us be sincere. If the sincerity is truly that the military said they could not guarantee security in the whole country, is that that's in the whole country, in the northeast, and therefore elections should be postponed, all well and good. And they've given a time of 6 weeks, all well and good. But I hope that it's not under kite that will be flown, and by that time, maybe 3 weeks at the time or 2 weeks at the time, we see increase in activities of bombing and everything, and then we now come up with another reason. So everyone wants this country to move forward. Everyone should feel for the lives of people in the north that are bearing the brunt of the insurgency. And I think the military should be up on their game. I'm not happy with the way our military establishment has been really abused in the last 6 years by deploying the military at the slightest provocation for every job that the police could have handled. Let me give a few examples. When there was demonstration at the Freedom Square Park at Ojota, what did the government do? He deployed the military to take the people away. When just recently, when the Rotimi Amechi said they could not use their stadium, what did the government do? Deploy the military to go and forcibly open the stadium. Now you are deploying the military to go and put surveillance over Tinubu's house. There was deployment of tanks on the street of Port Harcourt. It was reported in the news on the street of Port Harcourt. We just heard that over a government house there was a deployment of tanks. So this brazen, I think for me, it's a misuse of the military, and it is compromising the military. That is the only standing institution in this country that is the strength of the nation. And so when you begin to degrade the military with abusive use that are not supposed to be. I remember the last time that Banikoro was having an issue with Lagos State government over the building of jetty at Ikoyi. He deployed the military to go and stop work there. I mean, this is brazen abuse of our military staff, and the military is sacrosanct in any democracy. I have been to the UK several times. It's only once I saw a soldier dressed soldier on the street of the United Kingdom. You don't find the military just being deployed at every small. I think it's an abuse and the usage of the military, and it's not good for a country that should be honoring their military and holding them in high esteem. When you are deploying them for police services, and then there's something wrong.
Let's get back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Welcome to Call Digest. I can hardly hear you. Can you speak louder? What's your name again? I'm afraid you have to call us back. I can hardly hear you. When you call us, endeavor to turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can have a crystal clear communication. Also recall that there's a feedback. There's a little delay between what we say and what you hear on your StarTimes device. So you want to keep the conversation on telephone. Now, the NSA came up on the papers, I believe, yesterday to say that Boko Haram will be crushed in 6 weeks. How credible do you think that statement is?
We've had that a couple of times, and these times when government officials talk at that level, you might just take it with a pinch of salt. And it is my earnest prayer that Boko Haram should be crushed.
But wouldn't that put us as pessimistic?
It is my earnest opinion that it should be crushed in 2 weeks.
Just a minute. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest. What's your name?
This is Asamo calling from Ilorin.
Nasamu from Ilorin. Go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Nifemi.
Good morning.
Yeah, I just want to tell you in my word what happened. When we went to collect our activities.
Okay.
See, what we did was, community came together. This is about being a living. It's not about politics. It's about our community. So let's mobilize ourselves. Let's come out. This guy. And that is why we're able to collect this cash successfully. And that is why we have this process of collecting it. Even before other people could do it. I'm just trying to tell you what happened. Because they use the same scenario. I cannot go to house, bringing out people that come and collect cash. It's not done.
Exactly.
It is the people, the willingness of these people. If you want to Lagos is a business place. Because Lagos is hardly, you see a Lagos man clearing 30 minutes for other things. Because they are business people. And let me tell you, your answer is this. If PDP say want to conduct a very credible election, they are talking about card leader. When you now see that it's not going to follow them now, and turning back to CEC, it is not done inside this. Then we should share with ourselves. God bless you.
Thank you very much for your contribution, my brother. You were talking about you would love Boko Haram crushed in 2 weeks?
I would love Boko Haram crushed in 2 weeks, in 2 days, in 1 day, even as early as yesterday, because the damage that has been done to this country, the destruction of life, and sometimes we don't feel about those lives. We just felt, oh, well, we start down well, is the not, they are the one, but we don't feel about it. 200 and something girls have been in the custody of some persons that character you cannot guarantee. These 200 and something girls have been there for 300 days now, running, and then we don't feel that pain. We don't feel that pain, and we're just taking it as, I mean, oh, it's opposition, oh, it's this, it's that, it's to bring down the government of Jonathan and all what. I mean, nonsensical statement. So I want Boko Haram to be crushed, and if the NSA will keep to its word. But for me, how did he arrive at 6 weeks? What are the timelines? Has he identified where they are? Has he had I mean, does he have the requisite military assets that can be deployed, architects that can be deployed? And then, has he had the necessary cooperation? Okay, we heard that AU has come into the matter. They are all doing this and they are all doing that and everything. So, those timelines, how did they work them out? Scientifically work them out? But you don't even need to announce strategic things like that. I'm not in the military. But I know that you don't need to now announce things like that. When Osama bin Laden was taken out, nobody knew. The job has been done before people knew what was happening. And so that is what I believe that our military should do. Not to be coming to tell us every day we are taken out in 2 days and in 1 day. I don't think that is nice.
Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to
Haruna calling from Mina.
From Mina. Go ahead with your contribution, Haruna.
Yes, Mina is fine. I just want to tell you that the people in the Democratic Party should stop frustrating Nigerians. Because we Nigerians were ready to vote. And we in Niger State, the way we collected our PVCs, we went house to house to give the PVC. And everybody in Niger State were ready to vote. This issue of postponing election, we are not happy. We are not happy. We are really ready. May 28th, we will come out in mass and vote for please, I'm begging the Nigerian government. They shouldn't do anything about the election. They couldn't stop the insurgents in 6 weeks. Just in 6 weeks, you are saying you are going to stop the insurgents. It's not done that way. If you stop the insurgents in 6 weeks, that's why you know something about it.
That's all right.
That's true.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
That's true.
Let's look at the possibilities of the impact of this extension on the credibility of the election. Of course, I was with the APC National Publicity Secretary yesterday, who felt that, according to him, he says opinion polls is favoring the APC candidate as against the PDP candidate. But then, there are also people talking about voter apathy, the possibility of people getting withdrawn and losing their enthusiasm about the election.
The tempo was, as I said, part of my own frustration was that the tempo was high. People, just like he had people, I mean, people mobilize themselves for this PVC, and INEC did a good job in sanitizing the people. I am surprised that the National Electoral Agency is not complementing INEC's what they call it, INEC's public relations activities, publicity activities. The National Electoral should have been at the forefront of this public sensitization, to sensitize the people that look need for you to go out and collect a PVC and vote. And people mobilize themselves, like the man from the is telling you. They all mobilize themselves to say, look, we want our cards. Lagosians, we are all busy persons. So out of 6 million in register, now after cleaning us, it was about 4.something million. If 3 million has collected, that's about 60%, I mean, or thereabout. You're not going to compare it with where 700,000 people have collected their PVCs in Borno, or 7,000 or 1 million has collected in Niger, and you now want to say, oh, more person has collected in other. So it doesn't follow. But sincerely speaking, people are apprehensive. People in morals were damping. Mine was damping. But some of us are determined that, look, we owe this country a duty to vote.
What about the decision-making process? Is 6 weeks long enough to change a man's mind as regards who to vote?
No, it will not. It will not. It will just not. I think
you don't foresee any dramatic change.
No, I don't foresee. You see, the momentum, like the momentum, and I used to, even though they're blind, the momentum was very, very high, and it was favoring the opposition because it's like people felt after 16 years in power, after 16 years in power, that people should have a go at some other, should try other alternatives. So the momentum was very high. And of course, the spin doctors will not just allow it go. they went to work. And that is where my main grasp is, my main issue is that the reason we are giving on the surface, what are the analysis? Now, my brother, you've been hearing so many things, even in social media. Jega wants to be removed. Jega wants to be sent on compulsory. In fact, a name was touted, Professor Mimiko, to replace Jega in the social media and everything. In fact, last night I couldn't sleep because there was no power. I mean, I've not had power in my house for God knows how long. I've never slept with. So I was just fiddling with my iPad, and I was reading some of the comments on the social media. And some people were hailing, oh, that Jega will be removed. Jega will be. People were hailing it. So a lot of people were hailing it. Yeah, this is PDP. This is power. They think they know more than us. We know the strategy on how to and let them be shouting. No, these are things I was reading in social media. So people Nigerians were saying it. Maybe they think they have power. We have the bigger power. We know how to play the game. We are going to do this. We are going to do that. We are going to beat them and all that. And I wrote back. I said, oh, so all this talk about we are going to win is we are looking for a victory through the back door. Now, if you remove Jega today, have you not destroyed the electoral system? If you bring a new person, where will it start from? 50 days to election. Where will it start from? So that is but I tell you, people who are desperate, like this PDP establishment is desperate to retain power, they will not mind, they will not stop at anything. Let Nigeria collapse so long as they are holding on to power. They won't mind. Because if they will mind, look, my brother, the economic implications of this change, of this postponement, is gruesome. Naira has, in the interbank, has hit 200 naira to the dollar. A lot of investment decisions, a lot of FDIs that will have come in. People are holding on back to a lot of things. Stock market is degrading. Yesterday, within the last few weeks, stock market has lost well over 3 trillion naira of their value. These are economic costs, and Nigerians are not seeing it that way. All we are seeing is, oh, one good man must remain, or one bad man must not be allowed to come to power, or one good man must come to power, one bad man should not be allowed to remain. And we're not seeing the bigger picture of what we are doing to ourselves and to our economy.
You talked about...
At the end of the day, after all these things are over, then people will now come back to reality and say, Nigeria is bad, though. We can't eat, though. We can't do this. But now nobody's looking at that area.
You talked about the social media, and there are also questions as regards what impact the social media revolution would have on the forthcoming election. Doyo Kupe made some comments on his Facebook account this morning, and he says there are about 13 million and 4.5 million Nigerians on Facebook and Twitter respectively.
Yeah.
He says on the average, because of multiple presence, we can assume a number of 15 million. That's 50% or 7.5 million are not registered.
Okay.
He says out of the remaining 7.5 million, another 50% will not vote.
Okay.
And so we are looking at a maximum of 3.75 million voters from these platforms.
Yeah.
And that goes ahead to say the projected voters for this election is expected to be 52 to 55 million. Therefore, contributions from these two platforms is about 5 to 6%. It says, please be humble here and stop playing God. And then it goes ahead to give some other independent poll that says that Jonathan is more preferred than Buhari. But what impact do you really think social media activists would have?
The is lying to himself. If he thinks that there are just about 15 million people on the social media, they are well over 100 million people on the social media. Well over that. Because go to all the universities, everybody is on it. People, you see, they created various accounts on this social media. You have various platforms, and people are contributing. You see, it's a revolution, and it's making a big impact. So the equipment might just be lying to his own conscience and to himself, and thinking that that is the issue. That is not the issue. And then thinking that 52 million people will vote, I doubt it. We might have a voting population of about 40 million thereabouts. There's no way 52 million will vote in this election. What is Nigeria? What is the real voting strength of Nigeria? There's no way 52 million people will vote. In all the elections, the last election being the highest, you had 22 plus 12. That's 34.
Just a bit over 30 million.
Yes, that's about 35 million. So
let's take this call.
More than 40.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome to Call Digest.
Thank you.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I am Usman from Mina.
Usman from Mina. You have 1 minute. Go ahead with the contribution.
Okay, what I just want to say is, you see, this issue of comparison between Borno State and Lagos State, why can't you compare Borno and Kano State?
Exactly.
Even Kano State, their collection rate is not up to 50%.
Exactly.
And they're in the north, and also the other state in the north, also if you compare them with Borno State, states are successful in collecting their PVC is because they are more accessible. Most of the people are, most of the people are in the camp, so they can be assessed and be given their PVC. Unlike other states where it might not be necessary like that.
That's all right. Usman, thank you very much for your contribution from Mina. It looks as if people from Niger stole the show today.
Exactly.
But a big thank you to every other person that tried. If you can't reach us on...
that is quite true. Because you see, like I made originally, we always do selective analysis. Okay. And I just said it. Every day, when people are talking about the north and the south, they say, oh, Lagos and Kano, Lagos has 3 local government, Kano has 44 local government. You forget that Anambra, as small as Anambra has 33 local government, Imo has 28. Akwa Ibom has 31. They all have more local governments than Lagos. Which is bigger in size, bigger in population than them. But nobody talks about that. Every day you hear Kano and Lagos. Now you're hearing Borno and Lagos. Borno, what's the vote population in Borno? What's the vote population in Kano? That man has pointed it out now. What is the collection rate in Kano? It's about 50% or thereabout. So nobody's talking about that. You are using Borno. So I think we are just being mischievously in our selection and analysis. And that's why I want the commission to publish the exact number. Don't use percentages. Number of registered voters and number of persons that are collected. And I think that will help Nigerians to make it better and informed. And finally, my dear brother, let's not kill this country. PDP, if it's time for you to go, go. APC, if you're not going to win this election, then you won't win the election. If it is time for people to be voted out, for APC to be voted in, all well and good. If it's time for PDP to continue, allow the Nigerian electorate to decide the fate of who governs them. Don't use the military, don't use any mago-mago. Let us have a clean election and belong to the Committee of Nations, where responsibility is the order of the day.
WILCOX Alexa, thank you very much for finding time to join us today on Call Digest.
Thank you so much. Anytime, my brother. Anytime.
The show continues tomorrow, God willing. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Stick around for the top of the hour news.
You can now watch Call TV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.calltvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to Call TV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click Call TV, leave a space, then News. Call TV News, a 24-hour news station.